Thank you. Hey, Al, is Stephanopoulos here with those peaches we ordered yet?
Nobody's seen him, sir. I'll check on it.
Thank you. Hey, Tom, you gonna have a piece? Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Limbaugh.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend. Please, that's very good. Please. Thank you so much. You must save some of your energy for the rest of the show. Thanks and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, another exciting installment of Rush Limbaugh, the television show. Ladies and gentlemen, we must begin tonight, as we always do, whenever a mistake is made, whenever I err. We do not bury our correction or our apology, whichever is necessary, in the credits at the end of the show, like some shows do. Whenever we make a mistake, whenever we do something wrong, we trumpet our correction, and so we do now. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I breathlessly, excitedly, and with a bit of smirk on my face, began the program by proclaiming crime over in America. I said it's the end of crime. Crime has been fixed. Just as the budget deficit had been resolved by virtue of the 1990 budget deal, so with the passage of the Brady Bill had crime been solved. There would never, ever again in America be any more crime. The Brady Bill, of course, a 5-day waiting period before you can go out and get a gun and commit crime with it. Well, I spoke prematurely. The Brady Bill has not been signed. The Brady Bill is still stuck in conference committee, a conference committee of House and Senate negotiators, and they're all upset. Bob Dole particularly is upset because he claims they were left out of all the negotiations. Basically, the Brady Bill is this. It's a 5-day waiting period. You walk in to buy a gun to shoot somebody, and you've got 5 days to get it. While you're waiting, they check out you to see if you are worthy of owning a gun. Now, it's important to keep in mind that the people who really shoot other people with guns with mischievous intent, felonious intent, do not go buy their guns. They steal theirs. and the Brady Bill, of course, is not concerned with those people. The Brady Bill is concerned only with people who don't use their guns in a criminal way anyway. Now, the purpose of the Brady Bill has been discussed, and it's really been misrepresented. It's purely and simply intended to make liberals feel better of themselves, and nothing more. Symbolism over substance. Now, the negotiations were they wanted a 5-day waiting period for 5 years, and during those 5 years, the country was supposed to put together this massive computer system where after 5 years you could walk in, apply to buy a gun, and they could immediately, through our massive computer system, discover whether or not you were worthy of owning a gun, and the spot either approve your application or deny. The Senate, in compromising, said we'll go for 4 years, and then the computer check must be set up, and the House said no, we want 5 years. The House agreed with the Senate agreed with 4 years, and then it went to this conference committee of members of the House and the Senate, where now it is stuck because the Senate has said, while we're at it, let's whittle that 4 years down to 2 years. Because the point is the instant check. Let's get the instant check. To hell with this 5-day waiting period, because, of course, in New York, I don't know if you know this, there are 20,000 gun laws in America, ladies and gentlemen. They've really worked, haven't they? In New York, there is a 30-day waiting period for guns. No wonder New York criminals are for the Brady Bill. It will cut the waiting period by 25 days. You cannot get a gun in this town. There's already gun control here, and of course it's one of the highest crime areas in the United States, if not the world. We have some video to bring you up to speed as to what various parties think of the Brady Bill. We're going to start here with the Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell. in which he's blaming the Republicans for the stalled status of the bill that would end crime forever in America. Here's what he said.
Whether or not the filibuster continues is up to the Republicans. He's in a position to know that, not me. Where it is the Republicans who are filibustering, not we. And so since it is the Republicans who are filibustering, the only ones who can end the filibuster are the Republicans.
It's always the Republicans' fault. It's just always the Republicans are filibustering, and they are, and they should on this. Now, next up, we'd like to send you a little video of Senator Joe Biden, who, by the way, when you look at this, you will see that he's got more hair. You compare this to if you can remember, during the Anita Hill Clarence Thomas hearings, there's been a miraculous growth rate. You won't recognize it. You would not know this was Senator Joe Biden if I had not pointed him out to you. Here is what he thinks. This is really, really good.
And the Republicans want to filibuster this conference report like they filibustered us for 3 years to get here, to prevent the American people from being a little safer because of the inability of felons to get handguns. That is their right. I hope they don't do that. I think they'll rue the day.
I don't know if you people caught this. Did you hear what he said? Make us a little safer, so to prevent felons from getting a gun. This just illustrates how ignorant, or whatever lack of understanding liberals have about how criminals go about getting guns. A felon, by definition, is one who has committed a felony, which is a real bad crime. It's not just a minor little crime like snitching candy from a little kid on the grounds of his school. Felony is actual committing, murder is a felony, bodily harm is felony. So by definition, he wants to prevent people who break the law from legally getting a gun, which makes no sense. It won't work, period, at all. And that's the major flaw in the entire Brady bill. Here is the chief filibuster, Senator Dole. Watch this.
The bill now is worse than either the House passed bill or the Senate passed bill. Republicans were never consulted. And we proceeded to act in good faith and permitted the bill to come up the other night. And the reward we got was Zippo, zero.
They got Zippo, folks. They got absolutely... And it's, Republicans are owed a lot, because if it were not for Republicans, they wouldn't have gotten NAFTA. The Republicans have saved the day for this administration in many ways, and now this whole Brady bill is locked in a conference committee. But I just want you to know that I sincerely apologize, because everybody's hopes are way, way up. I'm sure there were parties in the city last night, parties all over America, because we announced that crime was over. And we were wrong. Crime continues today and will until next week when the Senate comes back and they get the Brady bill signed. And then we'll tell you when crime's over. And when we announce, you'll know. And that's when they sign the Brady bill and get this done. We'll be back with the rest of our show. It's a good one, too, right after this. Don't go. Welcome back. A feisty bunch. There was a major bit of legislation that was vetoed by 6 votes. That's what we would call a narrow defeat. 6 votes in the House of Representatives on Monday night. It was called Penny-Kasich bill. Tim Penny's from Minnesota. John Kasich is from Ohio. Penny's a Democrat. Kasich is a Republican. They're young. Penny has been in the House for a while and is quitting after this term, which will be a year from now, because he's so fed up with the way things are happening and the way things don't get done. Now, the minute Ronald Reagan was elected, what did Democrats and the economic prophets of doom try to convince the people of America of? That the federal deficit, which is all Reagan's, was going to end America. It was the sole ruination of our country. That unless we got a handle on this, why, who can tell if there'll be any America left for our children and grandchildren? And for 12 years, even through 1990, when they had a deficit reduction bill, that famous 1990 budget deal, which we showed you on this show, they totally ignored and forgot they did, because it didn't work, when they redid the budget in 1993 with virtually the same approach, $500 billion of deficit reduction. We go through this whole year, beginning with the inauguration speech, then the State of the Union speech, and all the way through the battles, And the president has got to get $500 billion worth of deficit reduction. If we don't, we're never going to get a handle on our economy. Children, grandchildren won't have anything to do. And there are a lot of people who don't. That's not enough. Bob Kerry thought it wasn't enough. A number of members of Congress, House, Senate, both thought, neither thought it was enough. And so, during the vote, the president promised a number of congressmen that he would get with them after the vote as we got into the fall and the winter and work seriously on deficit reduction. Well, guess what? Kasich and Penny put together a $103 billion deficit reduction bill, or budget cutting bill, above and beyond what they worked out for the 1993 Budget Act. And we showed you on the show where Foley said, no, you can't do that. You're going to cut spending. We don't want to do that. We'll take what you cut and transfer it to other programs. Now, my friends, the whole point of this is that for 12 years, these people just scared you and me to death. They spent all of the time they could warning us of the dire consequences of not getting our budget under control. And Penny and Kasich came up with a mechanism to do it, and it was rejected out of hand. In my mind, what this means is that no Democrat or no congressman of any party can come to us ever again and warn us of how the deficit is going to ruin our country, because it won't wash. It has no credibility. We have a whole lot of video to show you preceding the vote and then after the vote. We want to start out with Tim Penny from Minnesota, and he's got it right. Listen to this.
But I really did not expect the sort of overkill that the opposition has leveled against this proposal. The reason they have overreacted is because this amendment goes to the heart of the power structure in Washington, D.C. It challenges big spenders on Capitol Hill. It challenges the special interest groups. It challenges committee chairmen. The sort of resistance we're witnessing is the very reason we now have nearly $300 billion worth of red ink.
He's talking about the yearly deficit. Now, next up, I want to show you President Clinton as he is rejecting the notion that further budget cutting makes sense. Here's why. Here's what he says.
Clearly would take cuts in Medicare and Medicaid that we have allocated for health care reform in a way that would make national health reform impossible this year.
So they're gonna make their own cuts in Medicare and Medicaid, which is Penny and Kasich had cuts to, I think, $41 billion of their $103 billion. So they're going to take some of these cuts and they're going to call those cuts savings, and they're just going to transfer those savings into their socialist plan called health care, and they need that money. But I thought that they weren't going to need any new revenue for health care. I thought that was part of the magic. I thought that was part of the brilliance. You know, Mrs. Clinton, the smartest woman ever to have walked the earth. It wasn't going to take any amount of new money. Oh, it's not. They're going to have to get some Medicare money. Now, here is Leon Petta. This gets even better. He's the budget director, and here's what he has to say.
One thing that we cannot accept is the effort to take money from paying the health care needs of this country and putting it to paying the mortgage.
Wait, just a mortgage is the deficit. Either the last 12 years, the mortgage was going to kill us. These guys, for the last 12 years, this is the point, folks, you've got to understand this. For the last 12 years, the mortgage is what was going to end this country. Now, all of a sudden, health care, now they're turning it around saying, hey, if we don't get a handle on health care, well, we're never going to get a handle on spiraling. So we need that health care. You know, a health care plan wouldn't cost them any if they just tested on these 6 million uninsured. You know, run a pilot program, test it, see if it works. No. The American people want too much now. We've got to screw it up. We're going to screw it up all the way. But in the process, we're going to have socialism come hell or high water in this country. Damn it, that's what we're going to do. Now, here's Les. You want to see a real insight? You watch. This is Les Aspin. How this guy is well, here, watch.
These provisions, if they are adopted, would break faith with the men and women in the United States military, and they would seriously threaten the readiness of our force.
Did you hear that, my friends? He says that if we cut the budget by $100 billion, it will demoralize our forces. Our forces are demoralized because who's running the military? And I'll tell you something else. Our forces are demoralized because of what happened in Somalia. Our forces are demoralized because of what they may be sent to do in Bosnia. Our forces are demoralized because of budget cuts and a bunch of base closures. Our military is demoralized because their commander-in-chief is somebody they don't have any respect to sit there and say that this additional spending will demoralize the military is just sophistry, and these guys no credibility. Finally, John Kasich. as he wraps all this up, describing the opposition. This is good, too. Watch.
It took the President of the United States on the telephone, calling members of his own party. God knows what he was promising them. It took as much as John was promising. It took you think about this, it took the budget director, the Secretary of the Treasury, his deputy, the Secretary of Defense, who made statements that are just terribly disappointing to me, because I've known him for a long time.
Being kind.
You've got the First Lady coming up and addressing the freshmen, trying to derail our effort.
Well, she's the smartest woman to ever walk the face of the earth, and it's a tough battle. They tried. They absolutely tried, and it gave it a serious, and it were knocked down by the very people that have been trying to create all this fear about the budget and the deficit. We've got even more, though, from leaders of Congress who were all for defeating this, and it gets even better, and we'll show you that. We come back. Don't go away. Let's go back to this. Now, these are the next group of people are people who are happy that the Penny Kasich bill was defeated. And I'll tell you why. First off, here is Dan Rostenkowski of Chicago, who has been involved in his own, shall we say, curious dealings regarding stamps and the House Post Office. But he's also chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. They write all taxes, and here's what he says. Here it is.
Approving this measure would not only send a message to the American people that the government wasn't interested in their problems, but it would paradoxically undermine the possibility of long-term deficit reduction.
How?
Why do I say that? Simply because all of the experts agree that we can't contain the deficit over time unless we enact comprehensive health reform legislation.
Oh, BS. Barbara Streisand. I'm telling you, did you hear what he said? He said this sabotages deficit reduction. This is $100 billion of deficit reduction. Now they're saying cutting spending is not the way to reduce the deficit, but long-term, universal, womb-to-the-tomb health care is the way to reduce the deficit. That's not true. It just doesn't work out. But some of you may still be confused. After all of the clarity I have of the issue, out of all of the video that we've shown you, some of you may still be in a fog. So we have two members of Congress who are going to put this all in focus for you. Corinne Brown, first up. She's a Democrat from Florida.
The Penny Kasich amendment turned back the clock away on the President's investment plan for our future. Instead, the amendment would single out those groups: veterans, military personnel, federal employees, farmers, children, and senior citizens who have been devastated in the 1980s, and we need to help them now. Let's vote this unfair amendment down. It will cause a great deal of unnecessary pain.
If you still don't get it, if you still do not understand it, here is Carrie Meek, Democrat from Florida, to sum it all up.
Now, I want to tell you why a lot of people are involved in this. They wrote a check which they don't have the money to fill. When they ran for office, they went out and told the American public, we're going to Congress, we're bashing on it now, so when we get there, we're going to change that sucker. We're going to change it from top to bottom. We're going to turn everything around and make a new Congress. Let me tell you something. You're not going to be able to do it because you've got to go through the same road that these people did that you see sitting all over here. So deficit reduction, if it's really true and pure, you will come to this Congress, not fool people that you can do this, because all you're doing tonight is writing checks.
Yeah, I understand it now. Okay. We're going to write the check. We'll be back with more after this. Before we leave tonight, I have some very exciting news. This is a story, Crane's Detroit business. It's out of Southfield, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. Lear, is somebody here from there? Good, good. You'll love this story. Lear Seating Corporation, after the passing of NAFTA, plans on moving 200 automotive seat-making jobs from Mexico to the United States after NAFTA. Now, I thought that sucking sound was going to be your job. Let me tell you what. This is what I told you during all of our NAFTA shows. There are tariff and domestic content rules in Mexico. If you want to sell a product there, part of it has to be manufactured there. Otherwise, you got to have those 8% tariffs. Now, with NAFTA, the domestic content legislation is gone, and the tariff is cut in half, so it's profitable to make a product completely in the United States and sit down there to be sold, not made. And that's starting to happen. Told you the truth about NAFTA. Remember that. See you next time.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
Are you trying to come up with holiday gift ideas? I got one for you, the Limbaugh letter. Each 12-page issue is a beacon of truth in an age of liberal lies and deceit. Impress a parent, influence a friend, convert a liberal, it's fun. Give 12 months of the Limbaugh letter for just $29.95. That's a year for those of you in Rio Linda. Order now. Your holiday gift will include my official 1994 Rush poster calendar, El Frivo. Call 1-800-796-4200. That's 800-796-4200.
Now you can receive free this up-close profile of Rush Limbaugh, the man most feared by the Clinton administration.
Suddenly this year, our readership has tripled. Why? Because American Spectator reveals never before published information about AIDS and Magic Johnson, plus the truth about Anita Hill, Ted Kennedy, Oliver Stone, Jesse Jackson, and Hillary Clinton. At American Spectator, we tell our writers to dig deeper, get the inside facts, write the truth, and let the chips fall where they may. And here's the result. The hardest-hitting, wittiest magazine around.
The American Spectator cuts through the nonsense of news and world events to go right to what is really happening in the United States and around the world.
I subscribe to it, I read it, and I think it's one of the best magazines around.
To receive a trial subscription to American Spectator, call the toll-free number on the screen. Call now and we'll rush you our free profile on Rush Limbaugh, along with 12 issues of the American Spectator, the most fearless magazine in America.
Coming up on 213 News at 5:30. If you have any plans for Thanksgiving, don't finalize them until you see Robin Marshall weather. Right here on 2 at 5:30.
If you order a video cassette of Rush's TV show for only $24.95, just call Video Archives at 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. For a transcript, send $5 to Burrell's, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07009.